So changed. Instead of just bikers, they began absorbing. So changed. Instead of just bikers, they began absorbing. So changed. Instead of just bikers, they began absorbing. So changed. Instead of just bikers, they began absorbing. Instead of just bikers, they began absorbing. Instead of just bikers, they began absorbing. Absorbing entire gangs into their ranks. In 2011, they patched over the Wellington-based Sinfine MC. In 2014, they took in the Satan Slaves, and by 2015, they had recruited the Epitaph Riders of Christchurch. With every patchover, their power increased. They were no longer just Auckland's problem. They were New Zealand's biggest outlaw club. By the 2010s, the Headhunters had become New Zealand's biggest methamphetamine traffickers. Their drug empire was worth millions, and with every kilo of meth they moved, they cemented their dominance in the underworld. But law enforcement was closing in. In 2024, after years of surveillance...
Superstars in their respective corners now for this tag team match. Competitors set for action as we see Jacob Fatu, Rey Mysterio, Wade Barrett, and Ultimate Warrior. And standing across from them, it's a very tough test with JD McDonough, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and Carlito.
It is going to be all about teamwork and partner. Oh, could this be it? DDT! Is that all she wrote for McDonough?
Into the pinfall for the victory. Oh, finally got him. I can't believe this match is finally over. Here are your winners. The team of Jacob Fatu.
Powerful outlaw motorcycle clubs in New Zealand. While the seizures and police crackdowns...
I don't even know how long we've got till we get other packs. It's not too far away. A couple of days, I think.
Arizona was a land of open highways, blistering heat, and an emerging counterculture movement. The rise of outlaw motorcycle clubs in America was already in full swing, with groups like the Hells Angels, Outlaws, and Bandidos making national headlines. In this environment, 12 men from Phoenix came together in 1964 with one goal: to create their own club, one that operated by its own rules and took risks. They called themselves the Dirty Dozen. Over the next 3 decades, they would rise from a small band of rebellious bikers to Arizona's most feared outlaw motorcycle club. Their reputation was built on violence, drug trafficking, and ruthless enforcement tactics. And for years, they ruled Arizona's underworld without opposition. The Dirty Dozen controlled most of the street activities in Arizona. The story gets deeper, but the police allegedly were in the club's pocket. Rival gangs, FBI, and internal betrayals threatened to bring the Dirty Dozen down. Their story is one of bloodshed, loyalty, and a final transformation that would change...
And if you want to see who can play well with others, put them in a tag match.
It's true. Teamwork needs to be on point to win one of these. You know, I always think of us as a 3-man team.
Oh, shut up, Saxton. I'd switch sides just to pin you.
And I think we just might see. And looking at Jacob Fatu, and there was some brutal impact on that DDT.
This spells trouble for McDonough.
2. Man, that was such a long and hard-fought match. He earned that victory.
Here are your winners. The team of Jacob.
Drinking in bars. They were taking over the criminal underworld in Arizona. As the Dirty Dozen expanded, so did their list of enemies. Some members were heavily involved in arms dealing and extortion. They had no tolerance for disrespect, and anyone who crossed them, whether it was a rival biker, a civilian, or even the police, faced incidents came in 1976.
And I'm pretty sure we get the new Cena event tomorrow too.
Putting teamwork to the test in this match under traditional tag rules. Competitors set for action as we see Jacob Fatu, Rey Mysterio, Wade Barrett, and Ultimate Warrior. And this is sure to be a barn burner of a tag match in this encounter with JD McDonough, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and Carlito.
We have to be expecting a frenetic pace in this matchup. These teams stop for nothing. They are all go. Jacob's planning something here. Jacob about to end this fight. And straight into the pin attempt. 2 count.
Finally, monumental victory.
Here are your winners. The team of Jacob.
Violations and racketeering. The law had been closing in on the Dirty Dozen for years, but in 1992, the hammer finally came down. Over 400 officers from state and federal agencies carried out a massive raid across multiple Arizona counties. The operation, which had been 14 months in the making, resulted in dozens of arrests, including several high-ranking Dirty Dozen members. Police confiscated drugs, weapons, motorcycles, vehicles, and stacks of cash. Despite these arrests...
And this is sure to be a hard-hitting tag team battle. Competitors set for action as we see Jacob Fatu, Rey Mysterio, Wade Barrett, and Ultimate Warrior. And across the ring, the team they're ready to face off with: JD McDonough, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and Carlito.
These teams have scouted each other very well. They've probably identified the weak link in their opposition. Likely going to want to isolate and punish that single individual. What's Jacob Fatu's intentions here?
DDT plants them.
This spells trouble for McDonough. Following it up with the cover.
And the victory.
This wasn't just a name change, it was a merger of powers.
Here are your winners. The team of Jacob.
Dirty Dozen's most prominent figure. This was an opportunity too good to refuse. The Dirty Dozen had ruled Arizona for over 30 years, but they were still limited to state operations. The Hells Angels were global. By October 1997, the transformation was complete. The Dirty Dozen ceased to exist. They were now official members of the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club. In 1967, amidst the vibrant streets of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, a group of motorcycle enthusiasts came together to form a club that would transcend racial boundaries.
And we are locked and loaded for this tag team matchup. Competitors set for action as we see Jacob Fatu, Rey Mysterio, Wade Barrett, and Ultimate Warrior. Now they will be facing some fierce tag team action with JD McDonough, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and Carlito.
It is going to be all about teamwork and partnership here. What's Jacob Fatu's intentions here? Jacob about to end this fight.
Transitions to the cover.
But is it enough?
And finally, he picks up the victory.
Here are your winners. The team of Jacob.
As the years progressed, the club expanded its reach beyond Philadelphia, establishing chapters in numerous states, including Illinois, Ohio, and Missouri. Despite their growth, the Philadelphia chapter remained the mother chapter, central to the club's identity and operations. Their expansion, however, brought them into contact, and often conflict, with other motorcycle clubs and law enforcement agencies. Throughout their history, the Wheels of Soul MC faced numerous allegations linking them to criminal enterprises. Federal authorities...
Time to test how well these superstars work together. It's a good old tag team match. Competitors set for action as we see Jacob Fatu, Rey Mysterio, Wade Barrett, and Ultimate Warrior. And they'll be in for one hell of a tag team match as they square up with JD McDonough, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and Carlito.
And communication for these teams is going to be key. He has a hold of JD.
Connecting on the DDT.
Jacob about to end this fight.
There's two. And that'll do it. It's finally over with the win.
Here are your winners. The team of
and the Outcast Motorcycle Club further intensified scrutiny from law enforcement. These confrontations often led to loss of life and numerous legal battles, entangling the club in a web of criminal investigations. The escalating violence and alleged criminal activities did not go unnoticed. In 2011, a significant blow was dealt to the Wheels Wheels of Soul when federal agents raided their West Philadelphia clubhouse. This operation was the culmination of a 2-year investigation, leading to the indictment of 18 members across 7 states.
And here we go with tag team rules in effect. Competitors set for action as we see Jacob Fatu, Rey Mysterio.
Well, nothing fancy here.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Mike Stick. Oh, man, this could really come back to bite him in the end. Oh, ouch. Jacob Fatu sending a clear message here. He's able to dodge out of the way. Super kick. Ouch.
And JD gets that turn back on him. Super kick.
Nice. Jacob Fatu feeding off the crowd, feeding off their energy. What's Jacob Fatu's intentions here? DDT. Did Jacob Fatu get enough of it? Here it is.
Now the pin. It is enough. Finally, it's over.
We're cruising along.
Maintaining its independence for over 66 years before ultimately merging with the Bacchus Motorcycle Club in 2014. The original Red Devils Motorcycle Club was founded in 1948 in Hamilton, Ontario. At the time, the outlaw biker world was still in its infancy, and Canada had few clubs that followed the rebellious, independent lifestyle that was taking hold in the United States. The original Red Devils started out as a tight-knit group of riders, more focused on brotherhood and riding culture than criminal activity. Throughout the 1950s and
2 stacked multi-superstar teams set for action in this tag contest.
You have to wonder if some of these alliances are tenuous at best. It's rare to get 2 superstars on the same page. Add any more to the equation, and it's basically a miracle. What's JD in for? Spiked. Is that all she wrote for McDonough? Could that be enough?
For the win. Only 2.
Are we sure that wasn't 3? Just about as close as you can get.
It must be demoralizing knowing you've unleashed your best shot on your opponent to no avail. Here we go. Cover. 2. Finally, it's over.
Here are your winners, the team of...
suspected them of being deeply involved in drug trafficking, weapons smuggling, and violent enforcement within Ontario's biker underworld. Throughout the 1990s and 2000s, the Red Devils Hamilton clubhouse became a hotspot for police raids. Authorities were determined to prove that the club was more than just a rivalry. In 2000, a raid on their clubhouse uncovered illegal firearms, drugs, and stacks of cash. In 2010, another police operation resulted in multiple arrests, as members were charged with illegal gambling, narcotics...
And we are locked and loaded for this tag team matchup. Competitors set for action as we see Jacob Fatu, Rey Mysterio, Wade Barrett, and Ultimate Warrior. And we'll see if they're prepared for tag team action as they go head-to-head with JD McDonough, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and Carlito.
We have to be expecting a frenetic pace, and I think the crowd knows what we're about to see. Implanted by the DDT. Is that all she wrote for McDonough?
He did it! He did it!
Here are your winners, the team of Jacob Fatu.
Weeks later, in 2014, tragedy struck again. Steve Marcotte, a longtime member of the Red Devils, was killed in a collision with a tractor in Stony Creek, Ontario. What made this tragedy even darker was the revelation that the tractor's driver, David Bobor, was a former member of the club. Police investigated the scene. They discovered that Bobor had fled the scene after the crash, leading to criminal charges. The suspicious circumstances surrounding Marcotte's death led to speculation about internal conflicts within the club. But no
2 very different but equally intimidating teams going head-to-head here.
I'm not sure who I'd pick as the early favorite coming into this. Either team could get the job done. I think that's exactly why the WWE Universe is so excited to see this one play out. Proof these superstars have done their homework. He avoids the contact.
Super kick. Ouch.
Evasive maneuver there. Jacob Fatu feeding off the crowd, feeding off their energy.
Kato's got a little excited, bending at his weighty.
Lights out, DDT connects. Is that all she wrote for McDonough?
2. And victory, a win.
Here are your winners. The team of Jacob Fatu, Rey Mysterio, Wade Barrett,
JD just did not want to stay there in that match.
In the early years, the Pagans were relatively small compared to their counterparts out there. They began as a regional riding club, mostly based in Ireland, with a few chapters in neighboring states.
2 stacked teams ready to go at it in this one.
There are a lot of egos and conflicting agendas at play here. Let's see if everyone can play nice. Hurricanrana.
Okay, JD's having a moment.
And just in time, he gets out of there. Boom. Escaped that in a hurry. He quickly gets out of dodge.
Headbutt to the back of the neck.
Jacob Fatu feeding off the crowd, feeding off their energy. Jacob's planning something here. Down by the DDT. Jacob about to end this fight.
2. Guys, he put him away. That's a pretty big win.
here are your winners. The team of Jacob Fatu.
With their identity firmly established, the Pagans began to engage in more serious criminal activity. Drug trafficking, extortion, and weapons smuggling became central to their operations. The East Coast biker scene was chaotic and unregulated at the time, which gave the Pagans an opportunity to dominate territories. One of the first significant incidents that cemented their reputation for violence occurred in 1967, during a confrontation with a rival motorcycle club in Baltimore. The Barons MC, a small local group, made the mistake.
Here we go with quite the tag team matchup in store. Competitors set for action as we see Jacob Fatu, Rey Mysterio, Wade Barrett, and Ultimate Warrior. And this is sure to be a barn burner of a tag match in this encounter with JD McDonough, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and Carlito.
Jacob's planning something here.
And looking at Jacob Fatu.
Oh, what a DDT. Is that all she wrote for McDonough?
Major win! That'll change his career tonight!
Here are your winners. The team of Jacob Fatu.
Methamphetamine, which was becoming increasingly popular among working-class communities. The Pagans controlled distribution networks that stretched from rural meth labs in Pennsylvania to urban markets in New York City. They also developed strong ties to East Coast organized crime families, particularly in Philadelphia and New Jersey, where they worked as muscle for the Italian mafia and helped move drugs and weapons. During this time, law enforcement began taking notice. The FBI and local police launched investigations into the Pagans, but the club was notoriously difficult to...
Teams are in their respective corners for this tag match. Competitors set for action as we see Jacob Fatu, Rey Mysterio, Wade Barrett, and Ultimate Warrior. And they'll have their work cooperating cut out for them here, dealing with JD McDonough, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and Carlito.
Quick tags and staying fresh are imperative. What's Jacob Fatu's intentions here? DDT. This spells trouble for McDonough.
And right into the cover.
Might end this.
And he picks up a monumental victory.
Here are your winners. The team of...
Violent. Both clubs engaged in brawls, shootings, and bombings in an escalating war for control of territory. One of the bloodiest confrontations took place in 1974 during a motorcycle rally in Philadelphia, where a massive brawl between the two clubs left several people hospitalized and one dead. In 1976, the conflict reached a boiling point when the Pagans allegedly planted a car bomb targeting a Hells Angels clubhouse in New York. Although no one was killed, The incident sparked a federal investigation that would haunt the Pagans.
Here we go with the tag matchup the WWE Universe has been salivating for. Competitors set for action as we see Jacob Fatu, Rey Mysterio, Wade Barrett, and Ultimate Warrior. And in the other corner, they will be dealing with JD McDonough, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and Carlito.
This match can very well come down to experience. And I'm not just talking about individual experience. I'm talking about the experience you have with your partner. Knowing how to be on the same page is going to be crucial. What's Jacob Fatu's intentions here? Ooh, DDT. Did Jacob Fatu get enough of it? 2. It's over. It is over.
Here are your winners, the team up.
East Coast. The Pagans
A little bit longer than I would have liked, but not too bad.
Recruiting young men with a taste for rebellion and violence. Zwiebel was a natural fit. His cold, calculating nature and ability to handle himself in a fight quickly earned him respect among the Pagans' ranks. Zwiebel had become a patched member of the club, officially part of the Brotherhood. It didn't take long for him to rise through the ranks. His leadership potential was clear, and his calm but ruthless approach to enforcing club rules.
Time to put these teams to the test in this one, under traditional tag rules. Competitors set for action as we see Jacob Fatu, Rey Mysterio, Wade Barrett, and Ultimate Warrior. Then the opposing team is, of course, filled with JD McDonough, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and Carlito.
And trust is key to victory in a match like this. If you don't have a tag partner, you can't.
Comes!
DDT! Did Jacob Fatu get enough of it?
And quickly into the cover.
Might be in trouble.
And a win! That may be one of the biggest wins of his career.
Here are your winners, the team up.
Law enforcement testimony from informants. Zwiebel personally oversaw the man's a chilling euphemism for his violent execution. His body was never found. For the Pagans, it sent a clear message. No one leaves the club alive. The Pagans had become a dominant force in the East Coast methamphetamine trade. Rural Pennsylvania was dotted with clandestine meth labs, many of which were under Pagan control. Zwiebel became one of the key overseers of the operation, working with local cooks and distributors to supply meth.
And it is finally time for some good old tag team action. Competitors set for action as we see Jacob Fatu, Rey Mysterio, Wade Barrett, and Ultimate Warrior. They've got their hands full across the ring with JD McDonough, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and Carlito.
Both sides in this match know that tag team competition is a very... Oh, this could be something!
And looking at Jacob Fatu, and talking about giving a DDT with authority.
Is that all she wrote for McDonough?
An exhausting victory, but a win nonetheless.
Despite their efforts,
Here are your winners, the team up, Jacob Fatu.
his paranoia and meticulous attention to detail. Law enforcement finally scored a victory when they arrested several high-ranking Pagans members on drug charges. While Zwiebel managed to evade capture, the case exposed many of the club's secrets. Federal agents began building a case against him.
Yeah, sorry if I'm not talking much today, guys. It's cold ass here and my knees are,
Undercover agents
yeah,
had infiltrated
causing
parts
me
of
a lot of grief.
and several former members turned informants were providing details about his activities. In 1980,
Superstars in their respective corners now for this tag team match. Competitors set for action as we see Jacob Fatu, Rey Mysterio, Wade Barrett, and Ultimate Warrior. And across from them, they will be squaring off with JD McDonough, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and Carlito.
You know this is a tough match for superstars who don't play well with others. What's JD in for? DDT! Is that all she wrote for McDonough?
2! And there's the win! Huge win here tonight!
Here are your winners, the team up, Jacob Fatu.
reminder of the bloody rise of the Pagans Motorcycle Club. Two empires ruled the streets of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The LaRocca crime family and the Pagans Motorcycle Club. Though these two organizations operated in different worlds, one man stood at the intersection of both, Anthony Rocky LaRocca. As a member of the Pagans Motorcycle Club and the nephew of John LaRocca, the powerful boss of the Pittsburgh Mafia, Rocky acted as a bridge between outlaw bikers and traditional organized crime. His dual role...
These teams have been waiting for that bell to ring all night, and here we go.
When you have this many superstars in action, you know it's about to be an arduous match for all involved. But the team that can ultimately weather the storm will be the ones celebrating tonight.
Super kick! Ouch! Not sure if he should waste all his time hot-dogging around.
Going for the home run. Absolutely spiked DDT. Is that all she wrote for McDonough?
On a win. Wow, he's going to celebrate all night long.
Here are your winners, the team of...
The Pagans and the LaRocca family might seem like unlikely allies. The Pagans' MC were known for their chaotic, violent reputation, dealing in methamphetamine and weapons smuggling, while the LaRocca family prided themselves on running a disciplined, old-school mafia operation focused on gambling, loan sharking, and heroin trafficking. But Rocky saw an opportunity. As a trusted member of both worlds, he was the key figure in building a mutually beneficial relationship. The Pagans needed reliable drug supply.
And these two are both starting things off for their respective teams. Referee's going to have their hands full in this one.
Yeah, it can be hard enough to get control of the situation in a standard 2-on-2 tag team match. Adding additional numbers for a match like this is just asking for chaos. He has a hold of JD.
And looking at Jacob Fatu.
Oh, DDT. Wow. Jacob about to end this fight.
2 count. No way. No way. I don't know how he did it, but he's hanging in there.
Just how much pain is he willing to endure in this match?
And now the question runs in the mind, how am I going to be able to end this?
Down with the Samoan drop.
Now with the cover.
That's gotta be it.
Picking up the victory as his opponent does his best. Saxton stares up at the lights.
Here are your winners, the team of Jacob Fatu.
The FBI had launched a multi-year investigation into organized crime in Pittsburgh, targeting the LaRocca family and their drug connections with outlaw motorcycle clubs. Rocky became a key figure in the investigation, with federal agents suspecting him of orchestrating multiple drug shipments and violent reprisals. The pressure mounted when several former Pagans turned informants, providing critical details about the club's drug operations and its ties to the LaRocca family. For Rocky, the walls were closing in. Federal prosecutors indicted several high-ranking members of the Pagans and the LaRocca family, including Rocky, on racketeering, drug trafficking, and conspiracy charges. The trial was a media sensation, exposing the deep connections between the mafia and outlaw bikers. The trial marked the end of an era. Anthony Rocky LaRocca was convicted on multiple charges and sentenced to 20 years in federal prison. His conviction was part of a broader crackdown that severely weakened the Pittsburgh Mafia and dealt a significant blow to the Pagans' drug operations in Pennsylvania. Though Rocky's alliance had brought incredible power and profit to both groups, it also attracted deadly enemies and relentless law enforcement attention, ultimately leading to their downfall. The murder of Dr. James Kaufman in 2018 sent shockwaves through New Jersey's underworld, revealing the drug trafficking, gang connections, and murder for hire. At the heart of the case was John the Egyptian Kachbalian, a former pagan turned enforcer in the broader criminal network. Kachbalian wasn't a suspect in the murder, but played a central role in the aftershock, charged with witness tampering and cyber harassment of key individuals connected to the investigation. The story begins with the murder of April Kaufman, a well-known radio personality in 2012. The murder was initially a mystery, but over time, investigators unraveled a drug trafficking ring operating out of James Kaufman's medical practice, with ties to the Pagans Motorcycle Club. Authorities eventually arrested...
And here we go, a lot of superstars involved in this matchup. Each team is going to look for their competition's weakness.
The weakest link on a team will certainly be exposed. A team would be smart to identify their own weaknesses and keep that superstar out of the fight.
If we can hit 400 power, I'd be happy.
That away.
Yep.
Not sure if he should waste all his time hot-dogging around.
Yeah, probably shouldn't, but...
What's JD in for? DDT! Did Jacob Fatu get enough of it? Beautiful transition.
And now the cover.
the team of Jacob Fatu.
His credibility in court. As the investigation into Catchbalian's actions progressed, law enforcement realized that intimidation tactics was a larger strategy by individuals connected to the case. Authorities alleged that Catchbalian was acting on behalf of other associates in the network who feared the witnesses' testimony could seal their fate. Catchbalian's past as a pagan enforcer only added to the intimidation factor. Known for his volatile temper and connections to violent figures, Catchbalian had a reputation for settling disputes through force.
Putting teamwork to the test in this match under traditional tag rules. Competitors set for action as we see Jacob Fatu, Rey Mysterio, Wade Barrett, and Ultimate Warrior. And on the other side of the ring, they are facing off with JD McDonough, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and Carlito.
These teams have scouted each other very well. They've probably identified the weak link. This could be big.
Brought down with a DDT.
Is that all she wrote to McDonough?
Two. And a win. That may be one of the biggest wins of his career.
Here are your winners, the team of Jacob Fatu, Rey Mysterio.
The shadows of social media are not safe from the law. Though Catchbalian's role was small compared to others like Freddie Ogello, his actions had a significant impact on the case, highlighting the lengths to which individuals would go to protect their secrets. For John the Egyptian Catchbalian, his loyalty to old ties cost him his freedom. David Bart Barbado, the national president of the Pagans Motorcycle Club, stood at the pinnacle of one of the most feared clubs on the East Coast. But with that power came a growing list of enemies, not just rival clubs, but also federal...
Multi-superstar team match underway. These matches always bring out the fast-paced action. Always get the WWE Universe on its feet. This one shouldn't be any different.
What's Jacob Fatu's intentions here?
Absolutely spiked.
DDT. Is that all she wrote for McDonough?
An exhausting victory, but a win nonetheless.
Here are your winners, the team of Jacob Fatu, Rey Mysterio.
Enforcing club rules with brutal efficiency. Loyalty was rewarded, but betrayal was punished with violence. By the mid-2000s, the FBI and ATF were well aware of the Pagans' growing power. The club's involvement in methamphetamine distribution, illegal firearms sales, and violent clashes with rivals made it a top target for federal prosecutors. The investigation into Barbato's activities was part of a larger effort to dismantle the club's criminal network. Undercover agents infiltrated Pagan chapters.
Look at the amount of superstars around the ring. This one is to be a real spectacle.
Yeah, just look at the determined look on each superstar's face. There's going to be no shortage of excitement watching these teams battle it out.
Wow.
Headbutt.
Action underway, and if you're just tuning in, this is TV that changed Friday nights.
Oh, here it comes. DDT. This spells trouble for McDonough. And staying with it into the cover.
Two. And that'll do it. It's finally over with the win.
Here are your winners, the team of Jacob Fatu, Rey Mysterio, Wade Barrett.
Described beatings, murder plots, and drug shipments that Barbado oversaw as part of his leadership role. The trial also revealed the militaristic structure of the Pagans, with Barbado at the top of a well-organized hierarchy that extended across the East Coast. Prosecutors argued that the club operated as a criminal enterprise, with Barbado acting as its CEO. In late 2010, after months of testimony and deliberation, Barbado was convicted on multiple charges.
Oh, my days are killing.
And here we go with this tag team matchup. Competitors set for action as we see Jacob Fatu, Rey Mysterio, Wade Barrett, and Ultimate Warrior. And in the other corner, they will be dealing with JD McDonough, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and Carlito.
We have to be expecting a frenetic pace in this matchup. These teams stop for nothing. They are all going from bell to bell.
And you know what's next, guys?
Jacob about to end this fight.
And cover now for the match. There's two, and keeps his partner alive.
capitalize on that move.
He did it! He did it!
Here are your winners, the team of Jacob Fatu.
Events are among the most notorious in the Pagans' history. A chilling reminder of the violence, betrayal, and chaos that surround the club. On March 7, 1975, two 15-year-old girls from Ogden, Pennsylvania made a decision they thought would lead to adventure. They planned to run away from home and make their way to New York, leaving behind their quiet lives in search of something more exciting. What awaited them was not freedom, but a 5-day ordeal of terror, violence, and survival at the hands of members of the Pagans Motorcycle Club.
These teams are ready to test each other in this tag team matchup. Competitors set for action as we see Jacob Fatu, Rey Mysterio, Wade Barrett, and Ultimate Warrior. And standing across from them, it's a very tough test with JD McDonough, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and Carlito.
Quick tags and staying fresh are imperative, and it's what JD in for.
Brought down with a DDT.
Is that all she wrote for McDonough?
There's two. It's over. It is over.
Here are your winners, the team of Jacob Fatu.
30 to 40 men. The captors showed no mercy. The girls were isolated in separate rooms, starved of food and water, and systematically abused by the gang members. No one came to help, and every moment felt like an eternity. For the men of the Pagans, this was just another act of dominance in their chaotic and violent world. For the girls, it was a living nightmare, one they feared they would never escape. After 2 days, the gang decided it was too risky to keep the girls at the clubhouse in Queens. They relocated them to a house in Selden.
Teams in their respective corners for tonight's tag team contest. Competitors set for action as we see Jacob Fatu, Rey Mysterio, Wade Barrett, and Ultimate Warrior. And across from them, they will be squaring off with JD McDonough, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and Carlito.
It is going to be all about teamwork and partnership. What's Jacob Fatu's intentions here? DDT!
Did Jacob Fatu get enough of it?
And then quickly the cover.
Two. It is enough. Finally, it's over.
Here are your winners, the team of Jacob.
They called the police, who rushed to the scene.
We're cruising along.
The girls reported their ordeal to detectives. A harrowing tale of abduction, repeated assaults, and confinement. Their testimony was enough for police to act swiftly. Later that same day, police launched a raid on the Selden home. What they found corroborated the
You
girls'
guys know me, I don't rush shit, I just
signs of
plod along, do my own thing, keep it nice and cruisy, and enjoy it.
Authorities arrested 6 individuals.
And ladies and gentlemen, it's time for a little tag team warfare. Competitors set for action as we see Jacob Fatu, Rey Mysterio, Wade Barrett, and Ultimate Warrior. Then the opposing team is, of course, filled with JD McDonough, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and Carlito.
Hard to decide what team has the advantage here. Oh, it's coming! DDT!
Did Jacob Fatu get enough of it?
Making a most of that with the pin.
Two. Man, that is gonna feel good. Sweet, sweet victory.
Here are your winners, the team of Jacob Fatu.
The victims received some measure of justice, but many questions remained unanswered. How many other victims had there been? How far did the Pagans' network of safe houses and criminal enterprises reach? The 2 girls returned to their families, but the trauma they endured would stay with them forever.
The teams are in place, and this match can now get underway.
That is a lot of bodies. Should be really interesting to see how the action unfolds here.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what strategies both of these teams might employ. This could go either way.
Setting up.
DDT! This spells trouble for McDonough.
Two count. Picking up the victory as his opponent does his best. Saxton stares up at the lights.
Here
team of highly skilled undercover agents, led by Special Agent Jay Dobbins, took on the dangerous mission of infiltrating the Arizona chapter of the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club. Their goal was not just to gather intelligence, but to embed themselves so deeply that they could expose the inner workings of one of the most notorious outlaw motorcycle gangs in the world.
We're cruising along nicely.
The operation began in 2001, with the agents creating a fictitious biker gang called the Solo Angeles, Lone Angels.
It's always interesting to watch teams clash like we have here in this one.
These matches are always a perfect chance to find out how well these superstars actually get along, and an equal opportunity to stab an enemy in the back.
What's JD in for? Oh, the DDT! Jacob about to end this fight.
He's still in this fight.
I do not know how you survive that.
Staying alive there is unheard of.
And I think to get the pinfall, you have to try that maneuver one more time. McDonough wasting no motion on the counter. Caught in a bad spot.
Big slam.
That's what we're doing, Friday.
Tag made. Fresh partner
How
in.
you been, bitch?
Super kick. Ooh. Oh, kick connects.
Just bludgeoning their opponent. Boom! Connects on the kick.
Being placed in the corner here. He counters with a great reversal. The pressure got to Balor there. We'll see if he can rally.
Yeah, and this is the hostility Jacob Fatu wanted to bring.
Going for it again.
DDT! Balor's in deep peril here. Cashing in on that effort.
Two. That will end it.
Here are your winners, the team of Jacob Fatu.
The evidence gathered by Dobbins and his team led to more than 50 arrests, including several high-ranking members.
That was shocking.
Charges range from drug trafficking and weapons violations to conspiracy and murder. The operation also resulted in the seizure of significant quantities of drugs, firearms, and cash. The raid sent shockwaves through the outlaw biker world. The Hells Angels, known for their ability to resist law enforcement efforts, had been infiltrated and exposed on a grand scale. However, the operation also faced...
And this is sure to be a hard-hitting tag team battle. Competitors set for action as we see Jacob Fatu, Rey Mysterio, Wade Barrett, and Ultimate Warrior. And on the other side of the ring, they are facing off with J.D. McDonough,
Oh, yeah, for
Finn
sure.
Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and Carlito.
And trust is key to victory in a match like this.
If you look at Jacob Fatu's intentions here. DDT!
Did
Oh,
Jacob
the guys
Fatu
is
get
just
enough
referring
of
to
it?
his
Is
face
this
facing
the
back.
end? An exhausting match, but a victory he'll savor forever.
Here are your winners, the team of Jacob Fatu, Rey Mysterio, Wade Barrett, and
How we looking?
the Hells Angels, and highlighted both the potential and the challenges of infiltrating such a dangerous and secretive organization. The operation underscored the extreme risks taken by undercover agents, as well as the potential impact of such efforts on dismantling organized crime. Despite the arrests and bad press, the Hells Angels continue to operate worldwide, showing the difficulty of truly dismantling such an entrenched organization. The psychological toll on the agents, particularly Jay Dobbins, serves as a reminder of the personal sacrifices made in the pursuit of justice. Operation Black Biscuit.
Time to put these teams to the test in this one, under traditional tag rules. Competitors set for action as we see Jacob Fatu, Rey Mysterio, Wade Barrett, and Ultimate Warrior. And across the ring, the team they're ready to face off with, J.D.
I can't believe I
McDonough,
did
Finn
that.
Balor, Dominic Mysterio,
We
and
got it out of it.
Carlito.
Both sides of this match know that
What's JD in for?
And looking at Jacob Fatu, and just got caught with that DDT.
this spells trouble for McDonough.
There's two. He put it away. He picks up the win.
here are your winners, the team of
surrounded by the roar of Harley-Davidson motorcycles and the allure of outlaw culture. By the time he was 19, he was already hanging around the local Hells Angels chapter, running errands for members, and doing whatever it took to prove his worth. In biker terms, Jake was a hangaround, the first step toward becoming a full-fledged member. For Jake, the patch wasn't just a goal, it was a destiny. Wearing that death head means you're part of something bigger than yourself. It's told a friend. It's a family, it's respect, it's fear. But earning the patch was no simple task. To move from hangaround to prospect, Jake had to show he was willing to do anything for the club. That meant running drugs, transporting weapons.
Teams are in their respective corners for this tag match. Competitors set for action as we see Jacob Fatu, Rey Mysterio, Wade Barrett, and Ultimate Warrior. And they'll have their work cooperating cut out for them here, dealing with JD McDonough, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and Carlito.
And communication for these teams is going to be key in this one. He has a hold of JD.
DDT plants them.
Jacob about to end this fight.
2. He kicks out somehow.
I thought for sure this thing was wrapped up. Well, stay in your seat. Looks like we've got a ways to go yet.
That was a golden opportunity to end things. Now he's got to hope the opportunity presents itself again. And right away into the pin. 2. And picks up a monumental victory.
Here are your winners, the team of Jacob.
Gang infamous for its bloody rivalry with the Hells Angels. Jake was handed a pistol and told to make it look like a robbery gone wrong. Jake carried out the hit, ambushing Luis in a dimly lit parking lot. 2 shots rang out, and Luis collapsed to the pavement. Jake fled the scene, his heart pounding, his hands trembling. Later that night, he reported back to Big Ron, who handed him his prospect patch, a small step closer to the full death head emblem. But Jake's rise within the club came to an abrupt halt when law enforcement got involved.
Fellas, Raga, these teams are ready for action here.
This is a match that takes a lot of cooperation with your teammates. One weak link in your chain, and your team is in serious risk of losing. Bam!
Here's a hot tip for anyone that plays ranked play. The first card that has the gold wet blanket bag is going to be absolutely nasty in this play. Of course,
Surrounded by men wearing the death head patch, Jake pleaded for his life, but it was no use.
yeah, either wet blanket or always see it coming, you're going to get eaten alive.
Jake's body was found weeks later in the Mojave Desert, riddled with bullets, his hands bound with chains. His patched vest had been burned, a final act of erasing his connection to the Brotherhood. Jake's betrayal started action. Federal agents raided the chapter's clubhouse, armed with the evidence Jake had.
Tag team matchup where a team's cohesion is put to the ultimate test. Competitors set for action as we see Jacob Fatu, Rey Mysterio, Wade Barrett, and Ultimate Warrior. They've got their hands full across the ring with JD McDonough, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and Carlito.
This match can very well come down to experience. And I'm not just talking about individual. What's Jacob Fatu's intentions here?
DDT! Did Jacob Fatu get enough of it? Wasting no time. Into the cover. Oh, he kicked out.
His opponent thought he had it in the bag for sure. This is when you have to switch game plans. You can't let yourself get discouraged.
That move has brought victory before, but not on this occasion. Might be time to think outside the box. Follows up, shoulders down. 2. Finally, it's over.
Here are your winners, the team of Jacob.
Southern California with methamphetamine, corrupted local officials, and left a trail of violence and shattered lives in its wake. San Bernardino County, with its vast desert expanses and remote properties, became an ideal location for clandestine methamphetamine labs. Meth, also known as crystal, ice, or crack, had surged in popularity due to its cheap production costs and addictive qualities. By the early 2000s, California was producing more meth than
Oh
any
my
other
god,
state,
this
with
shit.
San Bernardino at the epicenter. The meth ring began as a loose network of independent manufacturers and distributors. Small-time cooks operated out of trailers.
Alright guys, it's frozen. Give me a few minutes, I'll be back.